welcome back to the Form Factor. If you've just joined us, I'm here in the studio with Hugh Taylor. On this segment of the show, we'll be looking ahead to his Eyecatchers from the week gone by. Hopefully future winners. Some of them have done well in the past, and we've got a big long list for you today. So pens and papers at the ready. The first one we'll be looking at is Salford Art, Greeley House, Shoulda, If I Were a Boy, Excellent Vision, Pass Muster, L'Astre Choisir, Key Breeze and Diamond Rainbow. So we've got plenty of them this week, Hugh. And the first one's a pretty high profile one as well. Salford Art, trained by David Ellsworth, was running in the Fillies Mile. We're going to look back at that. Obviously he used to be at Ascot, hence why we've got the footage. This time at Newmarket, finished 4th. And there were some question marks in some quarters as to whether that sort of pegged the form back as a 83 rated horse coming into the race. But you think this is a filly that can go on and progress from here? Well,
yeah, we've already highlighted how difficult it was to come from behind. I think the winner of this race did really well to get up and was far superior to the remainder to win. But Salford Art was rated only 83, did you say? And I think she's gone up about £15, so probably handicaps are off the agenda. But if you watch her previous runs as well, she's been running in a similar way, getting outpaced and then staying on really well. And I just thought she was worth putting in because I assume the race still exists, but I had the Zetland Stakes, which is the 1 mile 2 furlong staying race for 2-year-olds that they run at the end of the year at Newmarket. If that race is still in the calendar, I assume it is, she looks the ideal type for that because she takes a long while to get going, even on straight tracks like Newmarket, which is where she's done most of her racing. But she looks the ideal type for that sort of race. So I think she's a bit better than the result, and if she's priced up next time as if she's flattered, having been rated only 83, particularly in a race like that, I think she's crying out for that sort of trip now, having finished strongly on 2 or 3 occasions. So that's why I've put her in. She was against a pace bias and she's shaped like she'd be suited by another step up in trip.
And also plenty of pointers to take on the same front from Lyric of Light, so she is a far superior filly to maybe what we saw in the bare margin of victory.
Yeah, her and Clive Britton's filly who won, whose name I forget, but they were the exceptions to the rule in that they came from behind and a little bit away from the rail and still managed to win. I think both those two were superior to the opposition by more than the winning margin. So yeah, I was very impressed by her. So
good few pointers to be taken out of the Fillies Mile then. We're going to switch tack now and look at some of the races at Wolverhampton last week, kicking off with this one on Thursday. The horse in question, Greeley House, in the orange colours there with the black cap, trained by Chris Wall. Finished 6th on this occasion, just his second start, and an interesting one because he's been beaten a good way in both of his starts to date, 34 lengths, and in this occasion 36 lengths. So why have you picked him out here?
He's about to drop out the back of the TV, as you so rightly point out. This was only his second start, and for a long way you can see he's well beaten already and he's not being given anything like a hard time, and I'm not sure he's one we want to be backing next time either. But he travelled well enough for a long way to suggest that he's definitely got some ability, and I think he's 2/3 of the way now to having a lowly handicap mark. He possibly doesn't want as far as this 1 mile 4 furlong anyway, but if you watch the whole race, up until about 3 furlongs out, he was going as well as anything, and that was only his second start. I don't think he's necessarily a candidate to win a maiden, but his trainer Chris Wall has an exceptional record with horses making their handicap debut having had 3 starts, so he's one to keep an eye on. I did see he's got an entry over a mile at Pontefract, which maybe suggests that they felt that he just didn't get home rather than it being still not at the peak of fitness. I don't know, but he's better than the result, that's all I'm saying. He was beaten miles, but I think he's got a bit more ability than the distance he was beaten suggests, and somewhere down the line, maybe not next time, I think he'll show it.
Very interesting.
I might be wrong because he has been beaten a long way, but sometimes when you see a horse travel quite well for a long way and it's only their second start, there will be more to come in the future.
Okay, so one for handicaps then. I think Greeley House, interesting angle into that one. Shoulda then is the next one on the list, also at Wolverhampton. This one on Thursday as well. Barney Curley, Tom Queally teaming up here. Won this after winning at Yarmouth and has gone up another £5. Only won by half a length, but do you think this horse can win again?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever put a Barney Curley trained horse up before, but he's way better than he's won by half a length, but he's miles better than these, I think. He's held up, racing keenly. The track at Wolverhampton, he's riding very fast at the moment, making it easier probably for the front runners to hang on unless they go a crazy pace. And you can see he's still going well, and he doesn't get a clear run here. And he's the only one still travelling, and a furlong to go, and he's still got 3 or 4 lengths to make up. He's still not getting the easiest run through, and in the end he gets up under just about hands and heels ride and wins. He's miles better than them, isn't he? And
yeah, you can see he's got plenty more in the
I'm not suggesting people go smashing into it, because I can't second guess the yard, but he doesn't. He looks like just a horse who's going to keep on progressing. He doesn't look like one that they'll put away for 6 months and then he'll come back. He doesn't look the archetypal. Yeah. I know that was his return from a long absence, but I think he's just a horse who might run again. I won't be queuing up to find one to beat him, put it that way. Exactly. That's as much as anything, punting is about recognising horses that are not worth necessarily opposing, and I think that horse is well capable of defying a £5 high mark.
Yeah, should have then looked to have plenty in hand there at Wolverhampton. The following day then, on the Friday, we've got one to look at now, a horse called If I Were a Boy. Was well beaten on this occasion, finishing 7th, and to me just seems to have quite an inconsistent record. It seems to be one good race, one bad race. This was him stepping up to 1 mile and 6, but you've got hopes for this one.
Well, the reason I've put this is a good example of one where we'd need to show you the whole race to tell the whole story, because she's still in contention there on the outside in the cheek pieces, and she fades from there and in, but she went right round the outside the whole way round, 3 or 4 wide, and she must have covered a fair bit more ground than most of her rivals. Add to that the fact that her stamina was probably stretched slightly at 1 mile 6 furlongs, and I think this is a run that you can very, very easily forgive. It's worth a look at the whole race, because when the horse goes all the way around, Wolverhampton's quite a tight track anyway, so you're going around a lot of bends, and if you go 4 wide all the way around in a 1 mile 6 furlong, 5 furlong, 194 yards race, you're going to be giving away far too much ground to have a realistic chance of winning a handicap unless you're 2 stone well in. So I think we can draw a line through that. My slight concern is I saw she's got an entry over hurdles, so maybe they're heading down that direction, but she's the type of filly who, based, if she's overpriced next time on the all-weather based on that one run, she'd run very well on her previous start. She might go well at big odds.
Okay, that's If I Were a Boy. The next one to look at then is a horse called Excellent Vision, trained by Milton Bradley. Also in action on the Friday, finishing 6th on this occasion. Why have you gone for this one, Hugh?
Well, the big eye catcher in this race was Rigid, who everybody would have seen Rigid's run here, very tenderly handled. The problem with him is he's got a long history of losing. Excellent Vision in the yellow colours on the inside just doesn't quite get a clean run through. And I wouldn't say he was unlucky not to win, but he shaped as if he was still in good form, and he just got hampered there. He's probably unlucky not to have finished 3rd, I would say, and he'd not quite got the rub of the green on his last 2 runs at Kempton, and I think he might be better at Wolverhampton than Kempton. So all in all, he's a horse who's got 3 not very good form figures next to his name, but has shaped like he's in reasonable form. I'm a bit frustrated with this horse because I put him up as an eye catcher before, and then he ran while I was on holiday and he won at 10 to 1. So, and I didn't back him either. So I'm hoping I can catch him right again. He's not. I don't think he's massively well handicapped, but he's just one who might just be a bit overpriced because his form figures lately aren't that good, and he's been running like he's in okay form.
Okay, pass muster the next for Ollie Pears. This one in action at Ripon, finished 2nd on this occasion. Still looks pretty unexposed. This was over 10 furlongs. Are you going to say this one could go up in trip? Have I got the wrong angle into this?
It was more that he didn't get out until it was too late, and this is another one where it's worth, if you get a chance, to go to the At the Races site and watch it right from the top of the straight, because he was never really getting a run all that time. And you can see here he's still got 3 or 4 horses in front of him, and he never lands a blow at the wide margin winner Johnny Lester's Hare. But once he gets in the clear and does get a clear run, he stays past the rest quite readily. And he's also a horse who'd run in Doncaster the time before in a race that I'd highlighted also on this programme as being one where the hold-up horses had absolutely no chance, and a lot of horses that were well beaten that day, having been held up, have come out and won since, or run well. Art History has come out and won since, and a couple of others, 2 or 3 others, have run well, much better. Viva Vittori in the Cambridgeshire for one, and there's a couple of others as well. And I think he's a horse who's still going forward past muster. He's with a good yard, and he would have been a lot closer to the winner if he'd got out earlier that day. So I think he can win a race before the end of the season.
Okay, back to Wolverhampton then on the Saturday. The first one to look at, a horse called L'As de Choisir. This was the second run in a handicap. Didn't settle at all in the early stages, and presumably you think a bit more improvement to come, finished 5th.
Yeah, he'll need to settle better than this, but this was the first run for over a year, and again, this was a race where I felt that perhaps those at the front of the field didn't really come back to them. And L'As de Choisir pulled hard in the early stages and wasn't really helping his jockey, and will need to settle better. But if he does get if he does get the chance to run over further, and I see he's got an entry over 1 mile and 67 yards, he's the kind of horse who is still lightly raced and might be able to progress. And he's out of the picture now, but you'll see he just flashes into it right in the closing stages. Down at the bottom of your screen there, finishes well. So he needs to go the right way, having been off a long time, but I think there's potential in him at least.
Okay.
Not a strong one for next time, but possibilities.
Okay, another one to add to the list then, L'As de Choisir. We're also looking at Key Breeze now, who was in action at Wolverhampton as well on the Saturday. Finished second, just beaten 1/4 of a length, and he's gone up another £2 for this win.
Similar story really, another hold-up horse who came from a long way back, and again, I think that it's proved hard to make up a lot of ground in the straight, and he does really well to make up as much ground as he does, staying on well down the outside, gets past all bar one, and I think he can put that right soon. I think he's possibly the third Exceed and Excel I've put in this week. They do tend to go very well on polytrack, but he looks like a horse who'll be winning soon as well.
And the final one is a horse called Diamond Rainbow, probably one of the less obvious ones again here. Went off at 50 to 1, 4th start in a maiden on soft ground, finished 6th at Fosslas. Why have you picked this one out, Hugh?
Because for up till the 2 furlong pole, he travelled as well as anything. And this was his first run for 5 months, and he runs like he needs it because he falls in a hole now. But he'd also shown quite a bit of promise in Ireland. I went back and had a look at his 3 previous runs, and he'd shown ability on all 3 starts over there, and I feel like he just needed the run and the testing conditions. It was quite testing at Fosslas this day, found him out, and he's finished in with the rest of them, in with the also rans. He was probably quite highly rated on his official rating before that, but I suspect he might drop in the ratings next week, and he might be the type to do well in very minor handicaps if he's kept going this winter.
Okay, we won't get a chance to run through all of them, Hugh, but just to highlight that list again if you haven't had a chance to copy them down, and which ones to you are the most likely next time out winners, or the biggest eye catchers, as it were?
Most likely next time out winners. I think Pass Muster will go well next time. I think Key Breeze will go well next time.
The Barney Curly horse,
yeah,
Shudder.
I doubt whether I'll actually back him, but I won't. It's just one I wouldn't be looking to oppose if he's in a similar race reasonably soon.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on all of those. We're going to take a very short break here on the Form Factor, but we've still got plenty more to come from Hugh. We'll be looking at his selections for today, and we'll also look further ahead to the Arc as well, with a bit of news from declarations for the big races on Sunday, so stay with us.